We want to start off with a reminder that we are not doctors. Before you make any changes or try something new, always consult with your doctor and medical team first. Chronic illness can vary from patient to patient, so it's always best to consult with your own doctor for what is best for you.
Hello and welcome to IBD Determined. I'm your host, Mason Harvey, and I speak from the role of a patient and I have Crohn's disease.
And I'm your other host, Michelle Harvey. I am Mason's mom, and I speak in the role of a caregiver. And today's podcast is going to be, hopefully it's on a topic that might be important to you guys. I think we're tired. I think we're
Definitely.
tired. So when we're filming this, today is Father's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And Jason works on Father's Day. And so that's just how it is. And so we're trying to make something fun for dinner, for dessert, fit that in. He has a lot of college work. He's taking that summer class we talked about. And, you know, we had to film a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things
yesterday was actually a really fun day.
So the plan was yesterday, he had other college work to do too, but the plan was to fit in time to write the podcast for today, brainstorm some ideas, and then write it.
Mm-hmm. Along with all the other
getting his college classes done. And our power went out.
Yes.
And so that was very unexpected.
At like 12:30.
Yeah, it was like
12:25.
So we had decided in the morning, like, we're going to go for a run. So we went for a run, kind of took the morning a little easier because we're like, oh, the afternoon is when we'll get all the work done. I'll start the podcast and while he's doing his college work. And we had lunch and sat down to get to work. And then the power went out. And so then we went for another walk. We went back out.
Yeah, I just went for a walk.
I read Hamlet with him. That was fun because so we're like, all right, let's read this. And so did that. And then it was almost 3 hours. It was out. And so by the time I came back on, it was like
almost the entire day was gone. But
we had to work. We had other stuff to do.
We still got all the calls.
And I was working. I had an offer that had come in on a home I have listed. I had another client calling on a pre-approval that we were working on. So it was just a very busy past couple days. And so
very goofy. Supposedly a power box lit on fire. So
yeah, that was the word on Nextdoor.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys have Nextdoor, so
might not be true, but
I'm not sure. But the
what else would have caused it?
Store was that there was an electrical panel or box that lit up, and then that could make sense. There were fire trucks that had blocked off. I guess I'd heard the street is shut down, which coincidentally was by my listing as well.
Oh, it's so
it was So it was just one of those. It's been one of those weekends, and we always have like different topics, things we kind of want to talk about, and so we're like, let's just visit this one. We don't have like a full script written. But it's things that are very much on our minds, and they don't have to do a lot of research on this because it's our experience. So, so this is like a research heavy episode. And so we're going to talk more about the unwanted mental burdens that are placed on IBD patients like Mason and caregivers, parents like me.
Yes.
And basically what I hope you get out of this is nothing in life is going to be fair. So when we say it's like, unfair, burdens, unwanted, there's a lot going on in this world with things that are not going to be fair.
And nothing is fair, so.
No. So we get that. But this is more of like you're already being dealt a chronic disease or a chronic illness, not just IBD. This can apply for many people with many type of different challenges they're facing in their health journeys. This is not meant to be like a negative podcast to focus on the negative stuff, but it's more like
to talk about it
and validate your feelings. So you
might be like, I'm the only one feeling like
right.
This. No, you're not.
Which makes
it's
like that makes you feel guilty. Like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't be feeling like this.
Annoying.
These other people are doing so well. Sometimes we're not all doing as well as we appear, and things are tough. And with a diagnosis come a lot of things that are really can become a burden to you that you didn't expect. So we're not going to be talking about the physical aspect of this disease, which is a huge part of the burden of, what this is. But so the physical aspect, we're not talking about today, because that's a whole nother thing. And that's something that is an incredible challenge.
And if we did, we'd be here for a few hours.
Yeah, we would. And we don't have time for that today.
No.
And this is not going to be about the financial burdens. We have a whole separate podcast where we talked about
and we know those are
burdens. Yeah. So
the insurance is like,
so we're not talking about, the physical burdens, the financial burdens. We're talking about the mental burdens and kind of like what other people place on you. Let's, in one of the reasons this topic came to me was because I had read something. It was in one of the groups. And I think I told you about this. I don't know, but you'll might remember.
We'll see.
They're saying that if someone like a person who does not have IBD felt like for 1 day or 2 days felt how like an IBD patient feels the pain, feels what you guys feel, you would call in sick because it'd be like, oh, I can't go to work today feeling like
I can't go to work today.
And it would be accepted. And it would be okay that you stayed home and you lay down and you don't do anything. You get nothing done because you're feeling so awful.
Yeah.
When you get better, you get to go back to regular life, go back to work. But for someone with this disease,
that doesn't
always get better. And I mean, you can get to remission, but sometimes you have flares and you're down for a long time.
Everybody too, because right now I'm doing great. Yeah, actually, on the report I got.
Oh yeah, they did mucosal remission. But it's a different kind of report that they're doing at his doctor's. It's really cool, actually.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, but you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing well. And there's some people. I mean, I'm able to be treated with biologics. I'm on dual biologics, which is different.
And it was hard to figure out.
It's
not always like you find that magic recipe that's going to work.
It takes a while to find it.
Yeah.
But even then, there's still people who can't find treatments and they have to take steroids. And while steroids might be helping, they're not helping fully. And then on top of that, the steroids are adding other problems.
Yeah.
Maybe they did find a biologic that worked, but now insurance isn't paying for that.
Yeah.
And so some people just can't get better.
Right. There's multiple reasons for it. And it's not at any fault. Like, that's the other thing is you can't blame the people for feeling this way. They don't want to feel that way.
Do they want to feel like that?
And even with Mason, you have times where things are working and suddenly it's not.
Yeah.
And
going to
there's, for some people, they know that I'm feeling good today, but I may not be feeling good tomorrow. So there's like that uncertainty. They don't have that same freedom to call in sick every day that they're feeling bad. They have to go out into the world, put on a face for the public and work, get their stuff done. And that's tough.
Because you can't take a break from work every day of your life.
No. And so I think what happens in that, and like in thinking about this, is people see that and they think, oh, well, you're able to work. You're able to do these things. But they don't think that you have to. You don't have a choice.
It's not like it's going to get better.
Right. It's not like you had the flu.
It's not like you have a flu and you're going to go, all right, well, in a week, this will get better. In a week, this will get better. With a flare, it's like
I have no idea.
Months?
Right.
A year?
And it's severe. Things could end up in surgeries. You could end up hospitalized. So,
and if you end up hospitalized, then you're not going to be working for that amount of time. And then you're going to, when you are taking all the time off, you're going to be wishing, oh, I wish I worked so I had the money for this.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's like, my thinking is a lot of people don't realize how bad or how sick, how tired, how things really feel because they see what they see and they obviously it's like you on the outside might look fine. Just like if you have,
kind of like don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
Something like that. Just because you're at work doesn't mean you're feeling great.
Kind of just made me think like maybe that's one of the reasons why this kind of stuff we're about to talk about happens is because people aren't thinking of that way. So next time you're really sick, if you're just someone who doesn't have IBD and you have the luxury of healing up, getting better, getting to go back to work, just understand that just because someone is working and they have IBD, they may not be feeling as well.
Feeling good,
Right. So be kind. Just be kind, be empathetic, and
treat everyone like they're not having a great day. Just be nice. Be kind.
Right in their day and listen. So some of the things that I kind of came up with, and you can, chime in here too, Mace. And so these are things, like we said, these are kind of some of the mental burdens that are placed onto patients and caregivers. And these are unwanted. These are not things they asked for. One of the things is having to explain yourself. And we've talked about this before, but that is something that a lot of you aren't forced to explain yourselves to anybody. And with this disease, especially like as a caregiver, my experience with it is feeling like I do need to explain because usually the person talking to me doesn't understand.
They don't understand it.
And so it's not like I want to sit here and talk about this all the time.
No, but you feel like you have to.
But you feel like you do need
because
to.
you want to help someone understand, and they may not understand what you're going through.
And usually when you're trying to explain yourself, it turns into having to also defend yourself sometimes, because then when you start to explain, like with Mason, when you're trying to explain, like, I guess one of the examples would be his treatment. A lot of people don't understand the levels of immunosuppression in this community, and they think that everything is equal. And they think when you're talking about that your immune system is suppressed, they think that you're talking about it in regards to the disease. And it's like, no, it's the treatments. And so that's why some people are very different with going into public, and other people are sick all the time.
That's why some people don't take biologics. Maybe they're just like, oh yeah, I can go places.
Right.
But then someone who's on dual biologics, or if they're on biologics, or if they're on steroids, or if they're in
it's whatever treatment,
I can't go.
And so you start having to defend yourself because people don't understand that. And it's very unfair because you feel like I shouldn't have to explain. If I say I can't go into this public place to, at this time with what I'm taking, it's not a good idea. And people, well, so-and-so can. And then you have to defend yourself.
Yeah, I know they have Crohn's disease, but are they on biologics?
Right. So that's where having to defend and explain yourself all the time is really unwanted. It's not something anybody wants to argue about.
You have to keep being reminded about what you have. And it's kind of like...
And also having to defend biologics even, because some people are like, oh, you don't need that. You can just change your diet. And it's like, well, maybe the person you knew could do that, but that's not for him.
If I'm on dual biologics and I don't enjoy it, it's not like I want to get these biologics.
And they're so expensive.
And you're telling me I don't need them. I think we already figured out that I do need them because diet wasn't really an option and it didn't really work. So
it's one of those things where you don't want to be combative and you don't want to have arguments.
You don't want to make arguments, but it's like how...
So you have to be like, how do I defend myself? How to explain myself without
getting into an argument?
So you have to find creative ways, which again is another unfair burden, is having to find creative ways to tell people about your disease. And so it's...
Listen here, I'm on biologics because my body didn't respond to diets.
They're just tired. They're like, I don't want to talk about it. And so then you have people also upset with you. We've experienced this firsthand with family, not my side. My parents have been extremely understanding, but we have experienced this where they're upset with you because they don't understand. And again, so there's that having to explain yourself again, because you don't want people upset with you for why you can't go to their house at the moment,
Once again, it's not entirely their fault that they don't understand it because they don't have Crohn's disease. But at the same time, you don't have to be pushy about it,
You listen.
Yeah.
You may not understand the beginning, but if someone's willing to take the time like Mason or I and explain to you.
Especially because it's annoying when you have the disease and you have to keep explaining.
So it's like,
oh my God.
So if you're listening and you don't have IBD, just be someone who has an open mind and listen, because that's really, really important. Because the last thing, and especially caregivers and parents, try not to be upset with your child, your spouse, your partner, whoever it may be, a friend, because they may have to cancel on things because all of a sudden they're having issues that are going to require them to stay very close to home. And don't take it personally, and just understand that they're upset with it.
They're the ones with the disease. They obviously did not want it.
No.
And so why should they be the ones getting blamed?
Right. And the other thing I have here, a little different topic, is having to become an insurance expert. And,
Oh, wow, we love that.
And this was one of the things that we had an appointment this week for Mason with his GI. And one of the things discussed was this it's not exactly insurance, but we're on the same track. At the end of your appointment, when they brought in like three sets of different paperwork, and they're showing you the ones you should keep with you in the vehicle if something happens, if you're in an accident. So people are aware, an emergency situation for Mason. We had that. We have his whole health history and pictures of the disease, what it looks like, so that they're more educated. And then they were talking about having them start to learn how to read a medical bill. And so it's like, it feels like there's always just a lot of information. It's great. I agree with the doctors that these things need to be discussed because you have Crohn's disease. That's not going to change. And so they're trying to prepare you
to help your future.
Your future. But it feels like, oh my gosh, one more thing to deal with. So they're explaining to Mason how your medical bills are sometimes incorrect. Please read every bill before you pay the bill. And which
God,
we understand, but that is more work. You go through that. And then when you do find the problem, problem. Now you have to call
Yes.
and you have to deal with insurance and then you have to deal with getting approvals. And even this week we had a minor hiccup which caused more time. And this was another, with his Stelara, they couldn't order it. We have to get it shipped here. They overnight it to us and it's an injection. They didn't have the prescription renewal from the doctor because we do this every 4 weeks. They require every 4 weeks for the doctor to renew this before they will refill it. So then I have to call Radies, talk to a nurse, explain everything, have them send it in, check back with the specialty pharmacy to make sure that they have it, and then they order it, they send it. There's just always things to do.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
I feel because I feel fortunate that I've learned about this when Mason was young because I understand. And I feel like a lot of people who are diagnosed older, maybe your parents don't understand or certain family doesn't because it seems easy. But
No, it's easy, just take treatments and you'll be fine.
Right. Like you just have a few doctor's appointments, but it's like everything that goes on behind it. That's the other thing is the other one of the mental burdens.
It's so funny when they're like, you talk to a doctor, so now you're going to be paying a copay of $50,
yeah,
$500, $300. Oh, no.
I know, but you have to learn those things. And you have to learn about insurance also, about labs and out of lab areas. And, these are all the things that he's being educated on. And you guys may be doing this with your doctors too. I'm not sure, but they go in depth at Rady Children's with them to teach them all of this as the kids hit a certain age. I think it started at 13 and then 14, 15. As you're getting older, they're giving you more responsibilities with your healthcare because they're training you to transition to adult care is what they're doing. Becoming an insurance expert, having to make all these appointments and treatments and juggle everything along with life. It's a lot. And it's, again, you didn't ask for that.
It's not something you asked for.
No, this is not fun stuff. All the
insurance is so guess what? I know you didn't ask for this, but we're still going to make it hard for you. So
when we check the mail and Mason will be like, he sees something from the insurance. He's like, oh,
great.
What's that? And it's like, what's this one? But it's just one of those aspects of it that feels unfair having to deal with all this stuff. And it's a lot. And, but you do get used to it and you have to do it. It's just one of those things that you need to do. And kind of something we just talked on, I had another note here, people not understanding the treatments. And this can be a multitude of ways, like we just explained, like with biologics. They might, think, oh, you don't want to be putting that stuff into your body.
No.
And then other people not understanding why you have so many. It's like, well, I saw the commercial. It's like, it just says just one simple infusion every 8 weeks. Why are you going, to the hospital every 2 weeks? And it's like, so
because
a lot of people don't understand. And they also think that it's a dietary disease. And
I mean, for some, maybe.
I know. But it's not for Mason.
For most people, it's usually not. But
and there are
not for me.
And we've talked about that I do think this disease is not the same because the way that different people can handle it.
Like we said in other episodes, where we think that it will be split up into separate categories. Because how does the same disease get treated by Remicade, which works one way, and then another one doesn't even respond to Remicade, and it responds to Entyvio, which works another
separate way.
And they both kind of have the same sort of symptoms, but they all vary in how bad they are. Some can be treated by diet. Some can be treated by steroid. Yeah. And it's just, and some people can't even be treated at all. Some just don't work at all. And it's like, how does the same biologic, how is the same disease able to be treated with a certain biologic, and then someone else with the same disease apparently not able to be treated with the same biologic?
But they can say that they don't eat a certain food and it helps. And it's not only having people not understand treatments, it's the patients themselves not understanding, and the doctors not either. We understand how the treatments work.
If there's one thing to know about social media, it's that people like to be right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So
and I think it's important to always research.
See through this. Yeah, research.
Do your research.
And it's okay if someone else has a different opinion. Let them have it. They don't have to be exactly like you.
Well, and I think we learn a lot by listening to each other's opinions. Yeah, but it's important to listen.
To open the door.
And it's the same way with this disease, and that understand that there's going to be different treatments and there's going to be different ways to treat this. I think it's interesting to me that people don't understand. It's like even the doctors, it's like, well, we're going to try this, but we don't know if your body's going to react. But we're getting closer. I know precision medicine
thankfully,
is getting
we're
closer.
getting closer to precision medicine, which I mean, the thing is, it might seem unnecessary to some people, like, oh, well, I just can keep testing until I find one. It's actually very, very helpful because it took several months actually for my biologic.
Yeah, to find your combo.
To make sure a biologic really works, it takes about how many months? It depends on the biologic.
Yeah.
About maybe 3 months.
Some people notice immediately.
And almost immediately, yeah.
And some people take 3 months. And that's about really where they start cutting it off. But some do take longer, almost a year.
And so the thing is, you're trying to find a biologic that works for you, and you're being put on biologics trying to test for them, and they don't work. You're wasting a lot of time.
Yeah.
Which, your body is slowly getting worse.
You're paying for it.
Crohn's doesn't stay the same all the time. It gets worse.
Progressive.
And it's progressive. And so you have to be quick. And so with precision medicine, it will allow you, or the doctors, they're gonna take whatever blood sample. I'm just gonna say that as an example. Obviously, it's not gonna be that problem.
How they do it.
But they're going to be able to take it and say, okay, well, because the cell structure of Crohn's disease, blah, 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 looks like this and this, we are going to assume that this biologic will work the best for you.
Based on how your data matches previous data that's been tested in research, they would test Mason against other patients who are already in a database and who they've tracked to say the patients that have this type of this were treated with this and was successful.
And so that's possibly saving a lot of time because you're not waiting months to say, oh, I hope this one works.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be saying, I know this will work.
Which is great. Which would be very helpful.
We really need that.
And we are kind of just talking about this, but the next thing we have is people not understanding that you're tired and overwhelmed. And we're just kind of talking about this with all the appointments and because
driving down to the hospital. 2 hour, 1 hour forward with traffic, 1 hour back with traffic. Oh my God.
So
there for 3 hours to get your infusion. Benadryl. Oh.
Yeah. And I mean, these are with other, in the past 3 weeks, Mason's had 4 appointments with radies, and it's a lot.
There are people who even go more.
We're able to cancel a couple appointments coming up because
thankfully
the doctor canceled it.
MRI.
Yeah.
The MRI.
Yeah, the doctor
there's a special name for it. But
it's MRCP, but
MRCP,
they canceled it for now. And so they want to observe him a little bit more with more labs. And so that one's been shelved for the moment.
Thankfully, we're able to cancel a little bit,
But there's always something. And I combo this with having to say no to things you really want to say yes to, because a lot of times you don't have the amount of time that other people have to, in your spare time, you're trying to catch up on things you missed when you're at the hospital, when you weren't feeling well.
And when you get an infusion or you get an injection, sometimes those have side effects. It can give you a headache. It can make you feel tired.
Right.
And it can, not only does it take a long time to get to the hospital, sometimes get the infusion because you have to sit in the waiting room, then drive back home. On top of that, the side effects of the biologic might knock you out the rest of the day. And so if you have school that day, it's going to be really slow. And so it's a struggle. And then you have to catch up the next day.
And if you're flaring during all this,
then
you're
going to have an even worse time.
Yeah. So, because I was talking to somebody about this, and she had mentioned how she had to miss an important family function because they had to turn around so she could go home because she suddenly had to use the restroom. And then it really happens where sometimes you have plans and you have to suddenly, and people I think don't understand, because without knowing, I know watching Mason, 100% real. This is not a joke. No. And you don't always want to say, no, I can't make it. Or for me, one of the things I learned with him was, one of the things that was difficult is working, because I would need to be at an appointment to meet a client. And I couldn't leave him home. He would come with me because he didn't want to leave him unattended because he wasn't well. And so I at least wanted him with me. It was hard to leave sometimes because he's like, I have to use the bathroom really quick. And I'd be like, oh no.
Oh no, we have to leave in 5 minutes.
Yeah. And then you get on the road and he's like, I have to use the restroom again. And you're like, oh my gosh. And so it's really hard. And it's not like you want to be this person who can't go and attend things. You don't want to be the person who's late to things. That's another thing that feels unfair, is it may go against the kind of person you are, and it's not fun. It's not something anybody.
You still gotta do it.
But it's part of it. And so,
necessary.
in speaking out today, I think when things were, like I said, we're not trying to complain. I'm hoping people are feeling like, yes, you get it.
You understand. And if there's something we're missing,
or if there's somebody listening who doesn't have this and is learning, this is really take some of these to heart so you can be a good supporter and a good friend or family member to somebody with this disease. Something else. So I mentioned I had a note too, about the work and having to rush to find bathrooms symptoms. Sometimes you're just tired. Sometimes your joints are pain. Sometimes you have physical stomach pain that limits you. So
abdominal pain.
It's hard. Like, it makes you grumpy. Like, I feel like if I'm not feeling well, I'm not in a great mood.
I don't want to be doing
And so you're trying to be, it's tough.
I have a what appointment at 12 in the morning? Oh.
Yeah, I have another appointment,
I don't feel like doing that. I'm already tired, And especially like when I was first diagnosed and came out of the hospital, I would sneeze and my back would go out,
Right.
And that was when I was on Remicade and I had a bunch of joint pain and things weren't being treated because Remicade wasn't working.
It wasn't working, so they didn't realize.
Now I know I just said that, but Remicade might work for you. Like we said, everyone's different.
Which
Remicade
is funny.
might work for you.
Yeah. And it does. It works for a lot of people. Like, I don't know, it was like 50% of the people, but
it was very stressful because if I just sneeze, then I can't walk. And you're going imagine you're driving to the store and you're in this position and then you sneeze, you're like, oh great.
Yeah, it's tough. And there's so much with it that I just think people don't truly understand. And the other thing I have here is dealing with an onslaught of opinions and topics forced on you. And these are the kind of things where people love to tell you.
They love opinions.
Yeah, but they love to tell you how to treat your disease. People that have really their only experience is maybe watching an Entyvio commercial.
Entyvio.
Yeah, like watching a commercial, knowing a friend of a friend. Again, a lot of people don't talk about this, so they really don't know what the person goes through. But they sure love
to pretend that they're your doctor.
And then so you get a lot of information that it's overwhelming because some people are saying, oh, I'm taking this, you should take this. And, the one thing that we found, because it can be overwhelming, is to just, like, I have a Google Doc I keep. It's like and I make notes. And it's like, so that way, if I want to ask the doctor or refer to anything, I have it saved. But it's tough because none of us when Mason was diagnosed, like, I didn't have a medical background. I was a business major. I didn't, like the whole understanding of biologics and understanding insurance. And it's like just basic stuff. But now it's like all of a sudden with these people putting these opinions and telling you all these things, you're kind of like forced to like Google everything and get all some, and it's just like, I have to become an expert in everything.
You have to become like,
and it's like
medical school. Yeah.
And it's like, and the one thing we always tell people is don't make changes based on what someone tells you. Talk to your doctor.
The doctor knows you the best.
Because
and if you don't like what the doctor is saying, look for a second opinion. Look for the second opinion that, the next best doctor or something.
Right. That truly works. It might not be what you want to hear, but, I think that's just another hard thing is cycling through everything and trying to be polite when people are telling you how to do this and trying to put up with people also getting like frustrated with you. Like, well, it's your fault if you don't, take the zinc. Like,
wow.
We've already discussed it with this doctor and thank you. I appreciate it. So yeah. So it's kind of hard sometimes. And you don't want to write people off because, maybe something they did worked for them, or they heard a story. That's just like, but if you've just.
I saw it on MSN. I saw it on TikTok.
Yeah.
Zinc helps treat Crohn's.
Right. Or you'll hear, it's like, oh, I saw a new commercial and it looks like you guys have a cure. It's like, no. And that one, no, he can't take. And no, that one is for, so it's.
Remember that,
it's tough.
that one podcast we did? I don't remember. It was quite a while ago. But there was that one news story or something that there was a cure.
Yeah.
And it was just wording, but they were trying to get less attention for it.
That was I'll have to see if I can find it and link it for you guys, because that was a good way to use critical thinking skills.
Yes, critical thinking skills.
Right, your critical thinking skills, and really read and think about what they're saying. So one thing we start off with was talking about the feeling the need to explain. For a lot of people, it's like they feel the need to explain, but at the same time not explain. So what we're trying to say is beyond some people like us, when people like we do explain because that's who we are. Some people don't want to talk about it at all.
I'm comfortable talking about it, so
right?
I will. But some people just it's not their thing.
Yeah, they're
kind
not
of personal.
And it is. And it is.
Don't push them.
And sometimes a lot of people don't know enough about it to feel like I don't want to start this conversation because, I'm not a medical expert. You may have the disease, but
just because you have the disease doesn't mean you're a fucking doctor.
Right. Like you can explain everything. And so I want to just touch upon that again to say, I don't want to make anybody feel like you have to become an expert and feel like you need to explain. And it's perfectly okay if you don't. We take a different approach. Obviously, we have a podcast. We like to talk about this. We're very open about it. And I'm happy there's a lot of people that are, but it's okay if you're not. And so it's okay if you just want to explain a little bit and then kind of just let it go. Yeah. And
everyone's different.
But it is frustrating because you're probably still going to get a lot of opinions on that. But I had a note of people treating you like you're dumb, and that would be probably go in hand when like they give you their information. And so some people try to make you feel like they know this better They're so smart.
Yeah, and they're
And
so
you're a
smart.
disappointment.
Thank you for telling me.
And so it's just like, it's overwhelming, the amount of things that we are dealing with. And so, and I've been, like I said, again, fortunate enough as a caregiver to witness what Mason's gone through, to hear the comments as a, a different set of ears and a different set of eyes. And I feel like it's very important for me to mention and talk about this, because someone needs to stand up for the patients and, kind of like say, hey, back off. Like, be interested. Kindness and compassion is key, but let the patient speak. Let them explain their own experience. Don't tell them.
Yes, don't tell them.
Right. Like, I know what you're going through, because
Ask.
so yes. And one of the things we've talked about is, we know some people who, how do I say this, like, who may not take the disease seriously. They don't think. And so, like, I've told Mason, I said, maybe a way to approach it is, when we do see this person again, is to ask them, so what do you know about Crohn's disease? Tell me. I'd like to
We
hear,
want to help you understand.
and so that way you can understand what's in their head before they're coming at you and making you feel defensive, and like you're going to get frustrated.
Because all that's going to lead to is an argument. And who loves arguments? No one.
So my thought was, all right, so let the patient speak first. Let Mason say, I'm curious, what do you know about my disease? And sit back and let them put it onto them to explain what they know, without them feeling like they came at you, you rejected their idea, and they're frustrated and you're defensive.
Oh boy.
Change that role around. And maybe that's a good idea for you. If you feel like somebody doesn't really understand, bring it up with them.
What do you know about it?
Yeah. So, like, what do you know about this? And then you can proceed. And that's, again, if you're comfortable. Some people,
if you're comfortable. If you're not comfortable,
right,
totally fine.
Just but I think you and I are completely like, hey, tell us.
Yeah,
and then
go ahead.
We're happy to kind of correct you here, not based on the disease as a whole. I mean, there are certain things we can talk about from a science standpoint, but based on Mason's
because everyone's different.
Right.
It's good to remember that.
So if this person is telling you what they know about Crohn's disease based on somebody they know, you can respect that and say, okay, that's cool. So here's my experience with it. And maybe you can turn into a conversation instead of something that's less confrontational and makes you feel attacked. I think you feel, it's like no one wants to feel attacked. Like they're saying, so it's like, if this way you can turn into a conversation, maybe you
have a proper conversation and no one's getting angry.
Right. And then you're really succeeding and maybe teaching something. It's a teachable moment, which is
maybe
really
the other
important.
person understand.
Yeah. And so I think that is the key in all of this. And again, that's probably another unwanted burden, learning how to talk to people about it.
Yes. Oh, yes. Learn how to talk.
I feel like you're handed this title of Crohn's disease and then all these things that come with it. And it's just really about how you can manage and handle it. It may not be right. It may not be fair. Everything we try to talk about and validate, we're trying to help so that you have a better life with it and maybe don't feel so alone. And that's, come to us with any questions, comments, anything about this, your experiences. We would really like to hear it. It would be nice to be able to have a little bit of feedback and make sure that we're addressing things that are helpful to you guys. So basically, it's been 5 years since your diagnosis. And so we have like 5 years of experience, caregiver and patient. We have this experience going from in pediatrics, Mason's still in pediatrics, but to a teen with it. So we've gone through different
stages.
Yeah, different stages with it, from being a child to a teen, and pretty soon into adult medicine with this, and leaving the pediatric. Yeah, I know. So anyways, so hopefully that kind of may have helped you guys. I don't know if it felt like rambling, or hopefully it didn't feel too negative. I hope some of you feel like you're seeing, we get it. We all have our own challenges. Yours may not be the same things we've heard.
Like we said, Crohn's is different from everybody.
It is. It's different. And your perspective is going to be different.
Yes.
So we just want to...
This disease is easy. Or you might think, this disease is the worst.
Yeah, it's not it's difficult. No, but we're here to help. We're here to listen. We're here to educate. And hopefully, I don't know how many people want to listen to this who don't have IBD, but I really hope they do. I'm hoping there's a family or a friend, if you've been diagnosed, share this podcast with. I think it's just really important for them to hear the perspective and understand what they could do to really be just, make the patient, make them feel better, feel loved, feel cared about. That's what it's about.
Not as lost, make them feel there's other people like this.
Right. And being understanding, I think, would go a long way. So very important stuff. So anyways, that's it for today. We have other stuff to get to also, but you guys are we never miss it. It's like it doesn't matter how much we have to do, like priority.
Crohn's,
Right.
IBD,
Yeah.
friends.
Well, like today, we're like, okay, we have the 2 priorities, and that's, get our podcast filmed and get your college work completed. Then, hopefully you can fit the dessert and a fun dinner in there to
that'd be fun, but is it necessary?
Yeah, I know. We just do what we can, but we do not want to miss a podcast because I know it is important to have something you can rely on and know that every 2 weeks there's going to be somebody talking about this and being there for you guys. So
you're going to be hopefully helping someone. So.
Yeah, that is true. So with that said, you guys can follow us. So in the meantime, you can catch up on what we're doing on our Team IB Determined on Instagram. You can follow us on there, and also the Reggie Project. You can give that a follow, and you can listen to us on any podcast station like iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
And there's a link to more through Buzzsprout.
Yeah, through our Buzzsprout.
And that's very helpful. But if you're already listening to this on a podcast station, I assume you already found one. So.
Yeah.
But, there's always more links if you want to listen to others. So.
Yeah, and you can watch us too.
On YouTube.
Yeah.
There's also YouTube podcasts, and I usually always say those are new, but
at this point they're not really
they're kind of getting old,
It's just it's there. It's one of the
there. Yeah, YouTube podcasts are a thing, and you can listen to them.
But we film every one of these podcasts, and
so like if you're on YouTube, you might as well just watch the videos.
Yeah.
So there's also the videos, and so you can listen and watch us. Yeah. Which I'm sure you would want to see what color shirts we're wearing today.
But I always think like I will listen to podcasts, but then I also watch like when I'm working out or when I sometimes like to just.
It's nice to have something.
It's nice to have a face. I like to see
face behind it. It's not just a voice.
Yeah,
there's actually a face to it, and it helps relate. Kind of, I guess.
So I know we're different. People are auditory. People are visual. It's different ways we learn, different ways we enjoy something. So hopefully we have it covered. You can watch us or you can listen. Either way, however you want to do it.
If you are on YouTube, I have to do my little jingle. If you are on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and if you want to be notified every time we post a new video, make sure to hit that bell icon. And please leave comments because we love reading your guys' comments. Yeah, leave comments. Here's some ideas on what we can comment on. Maybe how you found our channel. What you relate with on our channel, if you like it, what we could do better. Do you like the background? Do you like our shirts? And let's see what you liked in today's episode.
Or what you
if
like
we
to
missed
see
anything
on another episode.
Do you want to see anything else on another episode?
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to?
Right.
How long have you been here? Have you been with us since the beginning? That'd be cool.
Yeah. Have you listened? It's been a couple of years now. We're hitting about to hit 2 years. And it maybe even like send over if you've read anything that, you're like questioning that, things about IBD, or you want to send us over for us to look at and do some research for you and talk about that. Do that too. I don't mind doing the research. I know you're more like right now, you're burnt out with English, but
English.
but I don't mind. It's like send over stuff. I don't mind looking into a researching if you have questions about a certain biologic, a certain JAK inhibitor.
You can answer
let us know. And, hopefully, again, we always say this, we want to get guests on, but it's our responsibility to have a good guest experience. And I want to make sure we have good questions. We don't want to waste the guest time.
We're not going to just waste
right.
time.
Like, I don't want to, so I need to,
that out.
Yes, I'm the kind of person I like to be well prepared and well thought out. So we're not wasting anybody's time. We're getting the information we need, and that's important to you guys. So hopefully we'll have some guests on, and I'm really looking forward to that because I think that would be a lot of fun. We have a list of people we'd like to interview, and so we have people who've asked to be on the show too.
They're waiting, and we're still trying to figure things out.
We want to make sure we do it right.
Yeah,
that's
we want to do it
more important than just that's more important to me is having a good quality podcast for you guys. So, all right, guys. With that said, have a great day, evening,
have a great summer break. If you're having a summer break, have fun. Summer school. Oh yeah, I'm sure that's fun.
Yeah. Not everyone's nice, then you're lucky.
Yeah, great.
Right. Well, you chose. It's not like you had to do this. So that's a good thing. Is if you wanted to say
get it done. I mean, we had to get it's a nice time to get it done. It's better than doing it with everything else.
Right. In the regular.
But at the same time, it's like,
Yeah. Get it. But you're doing well.
Yeah.
So
ready, pushing through.
All right. So we're off to get more work done, and we will be back in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yep.
To see you guys on the next episode. Hi.
Bye.
We hope you will stick around, tune in, and reach out to us with your own journeys. We are excited to give you an inside view of what it takes to be a caregiver and what it's like to be a patient.
And most of all,
We hope you'll maybe be able to apply something you hear on here that might help you in your own life. Sometimes life changes, and it's all about how you handle the journey.